Hi everyone, it's James here from the Studio Rats, and it's been a little while. It's been a 6-month journey, but I'm in. Kind of. It's been a little while since I did a studio build update video, and with much pressure from Mr. Drew, this is going to be a kind of all-encompassing build update and a kind of a mini tour. You can see the work in progress. You can see where I'm at. There is a snagging list as long as a toilet roll. But I'm able to work. You can see some of the hurdles we've come across, some of the stuff we've fixed and worked on. I'm going to have to refer to some of my notes because, it was a little while ago. It's been a 6-month journey, pretty much 6 months from let's start digging in the ground to let's start moving gear in, which is fairly impressive, I think, for a build of this size. Am I happy so far? I am ecstatic. I'm absolutely over the moon. But more on that shortly. Let's get a bit of an update on where we were at. So the last time we spoke, the guys had just laid the insulation down for the floor. The next job was another team came in to actually lay 70mm of screed. So yay much. Screed is kind of concrete without the stones in, effectively. And that was the main floor that the timber floor is now sat on. That went down really well. It's lovely and smooth. They did a great job. There was a couple of issues here and there with actually getting the material in and out. But in the grand scheme of things, cracking job. The next job was insulation of the ceiling. And the RW5 rock wool we used is horrible stuff. It's very dense. It's not the sort of thing you want to be breathing in. Asbestosis is one thing, but silicosis is another equally nasty, horrible disease you get from breathing this stuff in. So the guys were being very careful most of the time. Next job was to start the framing out for the actual internal structure. The whole point of the rubber floor underneath the insulation, which is then on top of, we had the screed on top, is that the internal shell is completely free floating from the external, like the block build. So all the timber stud work for the internal walls and stuff is completely free floating from the outside. Again, that's a major benefit when it comes to soundproofing and sound insulation. But it also means we don't get vibration traveling through to the outside world. We don't get aircraft noise, anything like that. Stansted is fairly close. We're not on the flight path, but it's something we have to think about. So that was quite a nightmare because obviously I don't want parallel walls. You can probably see that all the walls are slightly all over the shop. There's 15 and 20 degree angles pretty much everywhere. It's really cool. I'm very happy with how it's turned out sonically, but it was quite a challenge. The ceiling is also at a pitch because the outside was at a pitch, and obviously for drum mics and for room mics, I wanted to gain absolute maximum height I possibly could. So we've built it within the tolerances that are allowed by building regs. There's a 100mm gap between the outer wall and the inner wall. The inner stud work is then filled with more RW5. Again, horrible task, but the guys were great about it. They got on, did it. At that point, we really started to hear the soundproofing that was going on. We still at that stage only had one window and one door, but as comparison to the Marshall video that Paul and I did a little while ago, OMG, the amount of isolation increase was amazing. So once the stud work was done and all the insulation was in, it then came to actually boarding out. Now, the boarding for this project is quite specific. This end of the room, as in like everything from the kind of the guitar wall and the drums this way, is 3 layers. It's a layer of 15mm plasterboard, or sheetrock, I think the Americans call it. A layer of this very, very dense 5mm lead impregnated rubber lino stuff, and then a layer of 12.5 plasterboard. Why the different materials? Well, it's all to do with stopping sound. Variation in mass, variation in density is what's going to give us a better soundproofing result, and it's working really well. On that end of things, because we wanted to be able to screw things into the wall and screw guitars up and have guitar hanging and stuff like that, I'll show you that in a minute. And also we wanted to hang the aircon on the wall. We've gone 18mm ply, that end, then the lino, then 12.5 plasterboard. And again, sonically, I don't think there's much in it, but obviously the 18mm plasterboard gives us something to screw into for guitar hangers and stuff like that. Really important that obviously we don't want to start putting thousands of quid of the guitars on the wall to have them fall off. That's not so good. The single most challenging job, and this is where I got involved, was actually getting the plasterboard sheets on the ceiling. We hired this like board lifter thing in, and it was great fun, if not slightly challenging. And I think we might have broken it. But that made getting the boards on the ceiling to be able to screwed in a lot easier. I think I might have gone on about this at the time, but all in, I think there's something like 3,000 screws in the ceiling, another 2,000 in the walls, just to make sure the weight is absolutely supported and we don't get any cracks or bowing or nastiness. There's some serious weight up there, and I think there's nearly as much weight in screws as there is in timber, but hey. Next job was plastering, and again, I got a dedicated pair of guys in, 2 brothers, and they were cracking. Plastering is a dark art that is done by really good plasterers, and these guys were great. The walls are incredibly flat. They sort of came in and looked at me and went, you know these walls aren't straight, mate, don't you? I said, yeah, I'm aware. It looks really good. I'm really pleased with the result. You think, plastering, how hard can it be? Trust me, it's difficult. So once the plastering was done, it was a case of me getting busy with a roller. Well, in this case, I didn't actually use a roller. I used a paint sprayer because I hoped it would give me a better result and a more even result. And actually, it does look really good. The sprayer was a bit of a nightmare to get my head around and actually get good with, but it does look really good, and I'm really pleased with the finish. Plain white, theory being that I can light it myself with whatever color I want. Obviously, we'll come on to the lighting rig in a minute, but I can do colors and stuff, and white I think just looks cleaner and better. Certainly the amount of video I'm doing in here, it just looks cooler and nicer and stuff, and I like it. It's nice and clean. So working our way down then, once we've got, the shell done, it was a case of start actually filling this shell with lovely things. One of the things I really wanted to do was have an impressive, very useful, very functional lighting rig. You'll notice there's no holes in the inner skin, if you like, in the structure at all. Why spend thousands of pounds and countless hours on soundproofing to go and put light fittings and plug sockets and things in and make holes in the wall? That seems silly. So I designed this lighting truss. It's small, it's 100mm truss rather than the stuff you see at shows and festivals. But I think it looks really cool. It's really kind of steampunk and retro and kind of industrial, but it's very functional. I can hang lights off it. I've got my main lights. There's 3 different types of lights up there. In fact, there's the TV, kind of like the wash lights, the big LED panels. We've then got LED colors, which I can make any color, which is kind of cool. And I've also got these little birdie kind of par 16 spots, which are kind of the main, I suppose, feature lighting. I can light little things up and light the guitars and stuff. But it's got a really nice feel to it. Obviously, I can have any color I like because the LEDs will do pretty much any color. The truss also has power on it, so I can power lights or power cameras. It also has cameras on it. I've got extra cabling up there, so there's data cable up there. There is microphone cable up there for mics and things. There's a stereo room mic up there, Sontronics Delta 2 stereo ribbon mic, which sounds amazing in here. There's HDMI, there's data, there is SDI for cameras and stuff. Pretty much everything you can imagine is up there. There's also 4 extra audio lines for when I put the Atmos rig in for the height speakers, which is going to be very cool. That's a little way off because obviously I need to buy 16 speakers, which is painful in any world. But, all stuff that's going to be happening and going to be quite exciting. But I am really pleased with the lighting rig. It looks amazing. I'm so happy with how it's come out. It's very neat. All the cables are buried inside it. It's one of the big successes, I think, of the design. It was a pain in the you-know-where to get it in because it is quite a tight fit. We had to come up with a mounting solution for it because obviously we couldn't just use chain hoists and sling them off rigging points like you would in a venue. We've actually had to come up with, I think it's gas pipe fittings we used in the end with some rubber gaskets to dampen it and stuff. But it's quite a cool thing, and I'm really pleased with how it's come out, and it's very functional, and more importantly, it doesn't rattle. Matt, special shout out to him. He said, let's put some cable tray in it to make it all look nice and neat so you can't see the cables from below. And he was absolutely right. It looks great. That's all cable tied in. That doesn't rattle either. Yeah, really pleased with that. Next came the floor, and I chose this really nice kind of walnut. It is laminate, but it's not engineered because engineered, I find it was too soft and wasn't it wouldn't be industrial enough, if you like, for high traffic. This is actually laminate. It's wood finish laminate that's impregnated with plastic. So it's super, super, super hard and doesn't scratch. Well, it does, but it doesn't scratch too badly, which is a good thing. But it looks great. I'm really pleased. It was a pain in the you-know-where to get clean after we covered it up, but it looks great. I'm really pleased with the sort of dark versus the wood versus white thing. I quite like wood in the studio. The desk is obviously quite a lot of wood there going on there. My studio furniture is is all reclaimed timber. I think it looks really cool. So very happy there. Silly little features. I love the door handle. The door handle really was, I can't claim it as one of my own ideas, but I'm so pleased with how it's turned out. Again, it was a kind of a weird one. I saw it on a video somewhere. There's 2 more doors to do. We're going to have the telly cupboard, the Strat cupboard, and we've got the Les Paul door as well. It's silly, but I'm so pleased with how it looks, and it's a real talking point. Everyone goes, "Oh, I love your door handle." I really should find out where I found the idea and give them some serious props, but I can't remember where I found it. The last 2 big challenges were getting the inner door in. That's fine, that's in. But then making the gap between the inner door and the outer door looking nice. And I kind of came up with this idea of using pegboard and upholstering some black material around it, which again was a great solution, looked really good. We then wanted to do a similar thing for the window, but again, it's 2 panes of glass. It's actually 6 panes of glass, a triple glazed argon-filled outer unit that's actually bedded in the blockwork. We then built a frame out of timber for the inner unit, the inner triple glazed argon-filled insert, angled it, because again, that's what you do in studios to avoid internal reflections and standing waves and all that sort of stuff. But I was looking for an actual, off-the-shelf solution, and I found one. The only problem is it's all custom made off-site, hermestatically sealed, whatever the word is, sealed. But they're £26,000, and I'm sorry, but I couldn't quite run to that. So we came up with a solution, again, using the pegboard wrapped in material to give us the internal finish and not join the internal and external walls by anything kind of that would transmit sound. It's just a frame with some pegboard in the middle. And then we mounted the internal window into that at an angle, and it's come out really well. It looks really, really good. I spray painted the timber before it went in, so it all looked nice and neat and black and lovely. We've then got a really nice kind of outer trim, which looks great. There's a blind to go up there so I can actually block the world out. That blind is taking over the world. It's huge. But so pleased with how that came out. You're not going to see much today because the outside window has frozen up. That's how cold it is out there at the moment. And from there on in, it's pretty much been a case of let's start the install. So I'm going to take you on a quick tour of the studio as it is at the minute. It's a bit messy. There's a few issues that we're dealing with regard to kind of patching stuff up and some snagging and just like making good in a few places. But this is how it's going to be. We're not there yet. There will be a kind of a final shakedown video, if you like. We'll get a band in, get some mates over, and we'll video it. The whole point of this studio is to be able to live stream from here, live bands. So maybe we'll do that as the kind of grand opening video. But let me take you on the tour and show you around and let you see where we're at so far. So we'll do this as if we're coming in from the outside world. You can see the external door, a bit frosty this morning, and the internal door, Needs to be cleaned up a little bit, quite a lot. But you can see here the divide we used and the separators and the material and stuff, and it just all looks really nice and neat. Need to finish this side, but other than that. Right. Let's take those off. Put the studio slippers on. No, drop that. Most importantly, get the weather out. But you can see it's all come up quite nicely on the inside. Right, let's shut that extra door. And here we are, inside the new space. Yes, I know it's untidy, there's lots to do still, but hey, we're in, I can work. Lots of cable management still to deal with. So let's start by the door. Currently we have the Pile O Marshall. There's 4 different Marshalls there, which is quite nice. 2 JCM 900s, a JCM 2000, Super Lead, or DSL, and a TSL. Very exciting. Guitar walls are taking shape nicely. And some more there. And some more over there. We then have the door into the cupboard. I'm not going to take you in there because, quite frankly, it's a tip, it's cold, and there's not much to see. However, the important bit, the Les Paul door handle. Very pleased with that. It was a bit of a faff to mount it. I wouldn't have wanted to use a real Les Paul neck, but hey, thanks to eBay for their cost-effective one, should we say. Right, so the drums. Most people have never seen this kit from this side. Kit's in, mic'd up, sounds great. It sounds stonking in here, actually. It really, really does. I'm so pleased with how good the kick drum sounds. The toms sound amazing. And most importantly, you don't hear it outside, which is great. Let's go around to the back of the drums, because I'm particularly pleased with this bit. So we head round. Obviously, all the mic points are down there, built in. The cool thing is I can control the Pro Tools rig from here. So I can sit at the drums, keyboard, I've got the SSL controller screen. I can see exactly what's going on. If anyone knows how to make 2 different screen resolutions, or more to the point, 2 different widescreens actually fit the screen height, that'd be really handy, because I've not been able to work it out yet, but hey. But you can see I've got a great line of sight for the rest of the studio. See all round. Really good. The overhead mics are in. Plenty of height. None of the issues I had before. Really cool. Right. Let's move around here. So there's still stuff to be dealt with, things to clean up, snagging stuff. The floor, I am so pleased with. It looks really cool. I love it. It's kind of walnutty. Just looks really, really nice. Piles of stuff that still need to go in. My Katana PC. Yeah, cable management is a bit of an issue at the minute, but my theory was get the whole rig in and working, and then tail it all through this custom ducting that we made. The power, everything is through this ducting. Much, much neater than having it all over the floor. There's little brush points where the cables can go in and out nice and easily. I think we put something like 20 sockets in there. Plenty of power, plenty of space to run this absolute rat's nest of audio cables, but it will get tidied up, I promise. So we then move over to guitar heaven, or guitar amp and pedal heaven. I think I need to stop now. Definitely need to stop now. It's getting a bit silly. More cabling that needs to go in. The desk is all in and sounding great. I've run the Trinov optimizer on the rig. It sounds great in here. It's doing very little, actually. So all that design work and planning that I kind of didn't really do has really worked out. 2 racks, rack of goodies on that side and processing. Lots of data connectivity, lots of USB, the main patch into the desk. We've then got the 2 racks, which are patched in but not yet configured through the CB Electronics X patch 64. A couple of synths that need to go in. My stand-up, sit-down desk for the streaming rig will be going there. I've then got my Grossman cabinet hiding in the corner. Some more patching, more mic patching. Acoustic treatment-wise, to make the place sound nice, I went with GIK Acoustic, and we've got absorbers. I think we've got 12 absorbers in total. Some behind the drums, some round here on the walls to kind of treat the reflections and stuff. We've then got plenty of this side. I've got some more Tatrix gobos that I can use to treat this side if I want to. If I want to make the space a lot more friendly, I can do. But actually, it sounds pretty good in here. The Trinov hasn't had to work too hard. I've then got these diffusers and bass traps behind me. They have changed things a little bit, not a great deal, but they look quite cool, and I like to say the walnut finish is really nice. The other thing we should look at is probably the lighting truss. I am so pleased with how this has come out. I think it looks really cool. It's very functional. We've got, say, the big filming lights, little birdies, coloured lights. I can make the room any colour I like. I've got 6 of these filming lights that I can use to actually, make it work for filming without moving stuff around. No more lighting, faffing, moving tripods and stuff. It all just looks really cool, and it works. It's very functional. Matt the Sparky came up with these really nice, neat wiring solutions for the birdies. Yeah, I'm just so pleased with how it's come out. I really, really am. There's power up there, data, SDI for video, USB power, cameras up there as well. I've put a couple of the Zoom 2QN 4Ks up there. They're all powered. We've then got what will be the kind of vocal mic area, the vocalist area. I don't think I've missed anything. Don't think I have. You'll probably tell me if I have. Oh, there's the patching for microphones going in and the audio coming out for the monitoring as and when. So we've got networking up there. Yeah, it's all going very much in the right direction. So there you go, the studio. It's ironically, it's been called Dave by my daughter. Dave, because it's a long story, but I think the acronym is now Daddy's Audio Video Emporium. So welcome to Dave. I hope you like it. If you've got any questions, comments, or anything like that, if you've got any questions about how we did anything, how we achieved anything, any of the design ideas, please do reach out, give me a shout in all the normal ways. Gladly, I will happily share any of the tips and tricks and stuff that we learned on this journey. I am ecstatically pleased with it. Sonically, the results in here are great. The drums, as I've said, sound amazing. We get so little actual internal to external transfer in here. I'm really surprised how good it is. When I really crank the tannoys and their ridiculously huge sub, you could just hear the very, very, very lowest sub outside. And I think that's where the extra walls and things aren't in the cupboard yet. When that's done in sort of February, March time, once the weather starts to come a bit more favourable, I think that's going to improve things vastly. But I can work. I've still got a lot to do, as I've said, but I can work and can make videos and stuff, and I've got the space to do it, which is the most important thing. So I really hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, and we'll see you again very, very soon. But for now, my name's James Ivey from the Studio Rats. Take care.